The line between fiction and reality, once a clear demarcation, has begun to blur. What we once dismissed as fantasy now bleeds into our daily lives. Stories, once confined to the pages of books and the flickering screens of televisions, seem to predict the very fabric of our future. Are these mere coincidences, random acts in the grand cosmic play? Or is there something more at work here, something that whispers of a deeper connection between imagination and reality? The idea that our thoughts can shape our world is not new. For centuries, philosophers and mystics have pondered the power of the human mind. But what if this power extends beyond our individual thoughts, into a collective consciousness that can bend the arc of history? What if the stories we tell ourselves, the fictions we create, hold the power to shape our destiny? We find ourselves at the precipice of a new understanding, a new appreciation for the interconnectedness of all things. The evidence is all around us, in the eerie accuracy of pop culture predictions, in the chilling premonitions of authors and artists. Join us as we journey into this fascinating realm where the lines between fiction and reality dissolve, and the power of belief takes center stage. We are entering a world where the impossible becomes possible, where the whispers of fiction transform into the roar of reality. The question is, are we ready to listen? Ready to... Few television shows have achieved the iconic status of the famous cartoon series The Simpsons. For decades, the antics of Homer, Marge, Bart, Lisa, and Maggie have entertained generations, providing a satirical reflection of our society. But beyond the humor and social commentary, has gained a reputation for something far more unsettling: its uncanny ability to predict the future. From political events to technological advancements, has an alarming track record of foreshadowing real-world occurrences. One of the most striking examples is the show's prediction of Donald Trump's presidency. In a 2000 episode, the show depicted a future where Trump had become president of the United States. At the time, the idea seemed absurd, a farcical exaggeration of American politics. Yet, 16 years later, this prediction would become reality. But the predictions don't stop there. Also foreshadowed the Disney-Fox merger, the invention of smartwatches, and even the discovery of the Higgs boson particle. While some may dismiss these as mere coincidences, the sheer volume and specificity of these predictions have left many wondering, how can a cartoon be so consistently right? One theory that attempts to explain predictive abilities lies in the show's satirical nature. Satire, by its very definition, exaggerates current trends and events, holding up a distorted mirror to society. In doing so, it often inadvertently highlights potential future outcomes. The writers have always possessed a keen understanding of the social and political landscape. They are masters of identifying emerging trends and extrapolating them to their logical, albeit often absurd, conclusions. This knack for social commentary, combined with a healthy dose of creative license, may be the secret sauce behind the show's predictive prowess. However, satire alone cannot fully account for the accuracy of some of these predictions. Some argue that the show's widespread popularity and cultural influence play a role. Has been a global phenomenon for over 3 decades, shaping the minds and perspectives of millions. Could it be that, through its pervasive presence in our collective consciousness, the show is actually influencing the very events it depicts? To understand this concept further, we turn to the work of renowned psychiatrist Carl Jung. Jung proposed the existence of a collective unconscious, a shared reservoir of universal archetypes, instincts, and experiences that transcend individual consciousness. According to Jung, this collective unconscious is the source of our deepest fears, desires, and intuitions. Could it be that with its broad appeal and relatable characters, is tapping into this collective unconscious? Are the show's predictions not a result of conscious foresight, but rather an unconscious channeling of our collective anxieties and aspirations? Perhaps the writers are not predicting the future, but rather, they are giving form to the fears and hopes that already reside within us all. By tapping into the collective unconscious, they are able to articulate the unspoken anxieties and desires of our time, inadvertently shaping the future through their art. Section 5. Breathe and the Valencia Floods, Fiction or Foresight. The phenomenon of pop culture predictions extends beyond the animated world of. In 2018, the Amazon Prime series depicted a catastrophic flood in the city of Valencia, Spain. The episode, titled Safe Harbor, showed the city submerged in water, a result of extreme weather conditions. 2 years later, in 2024, Valencia experienced its worst floods in over a century. The city was battered by torrential rains, causing widespread damage and disruption. The eerie similarity between the events depicted in and the real-life floods sent chills down the spines of viewers, reigniting the debate about the nature of these predictions. While the creators of may not have possessed any specific knowledge of future weather patterns, the show's depiction of a flooded Valencia raises intriguing questions about the power of fiction to influence reality. Could it be that by imagining and portraying these events, the show's creators inadvertently contributed to their manifestation? Section 6. The Eyes of Darkness. A chilling premonition of a global pandemic. Perhaps the most unsettling example of fictional foreshadowing comes from the world of literature. In 1978, author Dean Koontz published his thriller novel. The book tells the story of a deadly virus, a bioweapon named Wuhan 400, which originates in, you guessed it, Wuhan, China. The virus, as described in the book, is a highly contagious respiratory illness with a near-perfect mortality rate. It spreads rapidly through human-to-human contact, causing global panic and devastation. The parallels between the fictional Wuhan 400 and the real-life COVID-19 pandemic are striking, to say the least. While Koontz's novel is a work of fiction, its uncanny resemblance to the events of the COVID-19 pandemic has led many to wonder if the author possessed some form of precognitive ability. Did Koontz tap into a collective fear of a global pandemic, giving it form in his writing? Or was this simply a case of eerie coincidence, a random alignment of fictional imagination and real-world events? Section 7. The Power of Suggestion, Planting Seeds of Reality. Another theory that attempts to explain these pop culture predictions centers on the power of suggestion. The human mind is highly susceptible to suggestion, especially when it comes from a source we trust or find entertaining. When we are repeatedly exposed to an idea, even if it's presented in a fictional context, it can begin to take root in our subconscious mind. Could it be that by constantly consuming stories about pandemics, natural disasters, and political upheavals, we are inadvertently planting the seeds for these events to manifest in our reality? Are we, through our collective consumption of fiction, shaping the very future we fear? This is not to say that we are consciously willing these events into existence. Rather, it suggests that our subconscious minds, bombarded with images and narratives of potential futures, may be playing a role in shaping the course of events. Section 8. From Fiction to Fact. Are we manifesting our future? The idea that our thoughts and beliefs can influence reality is not new. The concept of manifestation, the belief that we can create our desired reality through the power of thought, has been around for centuries. But what if this power extends beyond our individual minds, into the realm of the collective? What if the stories we tell ourselves, the fictions we create and consume, have the power to shape our collective destiny? What if the line between fiction and reality is not a line at all, but rather a permeable membrane, through which our thoughts and beliefs can seep into the material world? These are not easy questions to answer. The human mind is a complex and mysterious entity, and the nature of reality itself is still a subject of much debate. However, the evidence presented by these pop culture predictions suggests that the relationship between fiction and reality is far more intertwined than we may have previously imagined. Section 9. Conclusion. A universe of infinite possibilities. As we stand at the intersection of fiction and reality, we are faced with a universe of infinite possibilities. The stories we tell ourselves, the futures we imagine, may hold more power than we ever thought possible. Perhaps the line between what is and what could be is not so much a line, but a horizon, constantly expanding as we dare to dream and imagine. While the idea of pop culture predicting the future may seem far-fetched, the evidence is difficult to ignore. Whether through satire, the collective unconscious, or the power of suggestion, our fictions seem to be bleeding into our reality in ways we are only beginning to understand. The question now becomes, what future will we choose to create? Will we allow ourselves to be consumed by dystopian visions and fear-mongering narratives? Or will we use the power of our collective imagination to manifest a brighter future, one where humanity thrives and the impossible becomes possible? The choice, as always, is ours.